Hello, everyone. Crystal McFadden here, host of the Crystal Conversations podcast, inviting you to seek sanity this season in a multitude of different ways. In this episode, we're going to be talking about something that I find very, very interesting and very, very important because in the time of the recording, we're in the midst of the season where it's either team sweets or team wellness and supplements and get healthy goals. So in this quarter, you're going to see people making all the beautiful goods, baked goods, holiday time, and everything is just overflowing with indulgence. And yet, there are those who are holding onto the reins, restricting and hoping that they don't gain that extra 15 pounds just to be able to be social. And so for me, I need an actual plan, not so much follow by the line, but I just need a concept. I need to know what direction I'm going. And the reality is, when our body is stressed, when we have restrictions on us, when we are limited, or at least by perception alone, we experience strain on our body and we have lower mental health. We have lower joy. We miss out on really soaking in the presence of all that's going on around us. And so there's lots of emotions flying during this season. And so I wanted to tap in on some of the facts because again, I hear two different sides. I hear, just let go. It's the holidays. Eat what you want. Do what you need. And then I also hear sort of the buyer's remorse end of things where it's like, oh, I'm so full. I'm so sick. I'm so fat. Like there's all of these self-depreciating statements that come from choices that we made, when there could have been some ways where we could sort of weave in the two joys of enjoying the taste, enjoying the social, enjoying the activities, while also taking into consideration what our body needs and is going to thrive from. Now, I'm not going to prescribe you that line by line item because the belief that I stand by is the more we know our bodies, the more we know our priorities, the more we understand what it is we're trying to achieve in this life, the easier it is to come up with a plan that's going to work. Not everybody can pay out $400, $500, $1,000 a month in supplements. That's just for one person, let alone if you have a family you want to care for. And not everyone will invest in a gym or a workout routine that's free. Everybody has their own rhythms. And so that's really what I want to begin sort of having your brain start to think about. Because the reality is, if you're looking for a stronger body, a healthier body, not by size, not by shape, but really one that is functioning in the way that you were created to live, that's what we're going to talk about. This is personal for me because I grew up as an active kid. We rode our bikes, we ran through the woods. I was in that era where from sun up to street light on, we were outside, whether we liked it or not. The idea of making sure we drink enough water and organic vegetables, like that wasn't a part of the conversation. But I was active, I was strong, and I had never even broken a bone. For as ridiculously risky adventures as we had, I didn't even break a bone my entire childhood. And it was, so health was just I took it for granted. Point blank, I just took it for granted. I joined the military and whatever they said, I did because they were yelling. So I made it through boot camp. And even when we were exercising, once I was at my duty station, I just did what I needed to do. And my body did it. I pushed myself to its limits, physically, emotionally, mentally. I went beyond what I thought I ever could. And it really opened up my eyes to, man, my body can do more than I thought, because my 5'2" frame does not have long legs. The lung capacity is not built to run, especially after now later in life having a pulmonary embolism in my 20s. I definitely notice the push when I go beyond my limits. but it doesn't mean that I can't. It means that I have to tend to myself in the way that my body responds. I'm wondering if there are a few things in your body, in your mind, that currently stand out as things you need to consider. Maybe you have blood sugar concerns. Maybe you have an autoimmune, similar to me. Maybe you have a past injury that hurts in certain forms of movement. Maybe you have certain dietary restrictions, whether it's milk or wheat or nuts or any number of things. These are things you want to consider that are personal to you that need to be taken into account as you move forward in this journey with all of the marketing and all of the things pulling for your attention. And sort of those emotions weighing you down, because your mind and emotions can create a really negative script in your mind that can create more harm than it ever needs to. So I want to help you create a healthy, positive, realistic script in your mind so that as you navigate these sort of challenges, buy meat, do this, eat this, don't do this, that you can sort of walk through that. Let's understand our body first and foremost. Y'all know what era we're in. You all know what we're all thinking. If someone coughs or sneezes in public, the whole world goes, "Oh, how dare you?" That's a natural body response. So let's talk about where I'm coming from and where my information is grounded. 70%, 70 to 80% in some studies say that our immune system is housed in the gut. It has such a diverse range of bacteria, good and bad, that are essentially sorting out what's coming into our body, what can be used, and what needs tossed, what is harmful and what is helpful. It's doing all of this while fueling other parts of our body. Not only that, 90% of our serotonin, the feel-good chemical that impacts a lot of things, it is also in our gut. Our brain and our gut is essentially from our mouth to our butt. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, or if this term is brand new or unfamiliar, from our mouth to our butt is our gut. There is a whole lot of intestine, a whole lot of organs. Things are being filtered through when it enters our body, voluntarily or involuntarily. And so if we're thinking about the hormone serotonin that manages mood, fuels our central nervous system, which is controlling all of our other functions, and our immune system being housed in the same area, it might be worth paying attention to so that we can make good choices. Because we talked about the things we have control over. What is being impacted? What is going on? But really, the science on the inside, we have more control than we allow ourselves to think. And that's what I want to talk to you, because if we increase our sugar, our flour, our greasy foods, our processed foods, guess what happens? It puts more stress on our body. That stuff's going in and our body's going, what is this? What do we do with it? Where does it go? We need to either store this or kick it out. But essentially, it's using energy to figure that out. I don't care how allergic or how not allergic, or how much or how little of that you eat. If we put something into our body, it takes energy from our body to figure out what it is. That's why when you lessen the amount of things that are foreign, that's why you have all of these just eat organic, just eat fresh, just grow your own stuff, get it from this farm, buy it from this market. Yes, those are all good suggestions, but those stem from the fact that our body endures less stress and less energy to figure out what the heck is going on in our body when we eat more foods that are real rather than created. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope you're hearing me in the fact that I just want to be realistic in this journey for you. I want you to find the sanity that is personal to you, that works for your rhythms of life and the priorities that are high on your list. So say, okay, if we want to create a little bit less stress for our body, we lessen the amount of sugars, processed foods, greasy things, fried things. What if we want to increase something? Increase water, increase movement, increase real foods, right? You can lessen some of these and increase some of those in order to create less stress in your body. That energy can then be allocated to the things you want it to be allocated for. You want to take some of, essentially, let's think about driving your car. I live in Pennsylvania. It is hills and turns and potholes and up and down and over for absolutely no reason other than the fact that's the landscape. The landscape that I live in is naturally up, down, and around the turn and over the bridge, and then the next bridge, and then up and down and around and over again. That's the way Pennsylvania is. It puts more wear and tear on the car. It uses more fuel to navigate that type of landscape than it would if I was out in Ohio going flat and straight, or out in Kansas as far as the eye can see. You know what I'm talking about. That's why cars, when you buy them, have city mileage and highway mileage, because it gets lower city mileage on that more stop, go, up, down, around terrain than it does on the highway, straight and smooth. You want to create a highway-like atmosphere for your body so that your fuel can go a lot farther to the things that are important to you. Now, does it make sense? So how do we do that? We want to get some of the stress out. We want to put some of the fuel in. And the things we think about in order to do that is the rhythms of your day. What does your day look like? I know that I get up early in the morning to serve my family. And besides my quiet time and my prayer time, the majority of my morning is running around to serve the people in my household or animal. And in that morning, I need to be hydrated. I need to be fueled. My blood sugars need to be balanced. My energy needs to be in a way where I have rested well the night before. Otherwise, I'm literally walking into walls and putting things in the freezer that don't belong there. So when I think about the rhythms of my day, the morning is very heavy. It's very work intensive. Not necessarily brain focus, but physically, I need to move and I need to somewhat put coherent thoughts together, but not in a strategic way, just in a rhythmic way. So I know that about my day. Throughout the day, then I need to be strategic. Then I need to be able to pour into the lives of others and create decisions and help my team. Those are the things I need to think about. I want all of my brain energy to be at its optimal level, usually between 8 and 9 a.m. until about 2 to 3. Then I get more into the physical and the rhythmic end of taking care, making dinner, wrapping up loose ends, checking on homework, those types of things. My priorities clearly are my family, but thankfully a lot of strategy isn't required in that day-to-day. Is it nice when I get to back up and have those strategic moments around my family? Absolutely. But most of it is pretty rhythmic, and they know that and they like that. So those are the things I think about. Also, what things need to be let go in your day? If we're trying to think of ways to put stress out and bring fuel in, what things are stressful that we can let go? They do not need to be in your life. You know it, your friends know it, any loved ones know it. And whether you're ready to say it out loud or not, it's time for something to get dropped. And that's okay. Because when we drop things that we're just taking on out of guilt, we can make better decisions with that energy. Also, maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be dropped, but it needs to be combined. Things that you can combine for more efficiency. As I mentioned, my morning is very rhythmic and physical. I am packing lunches and getting people clothes and taking the dog out. Those are very rhythmic. Things that can be happening during that time, the dishwasher can be running, the laundry can be set on delayed start for when the dishwasher's done, and things can be moving accordingly. I was given for Christmas one of those robot vacuums. That can be running. Things that are moving that I don't necessarily have to put energy out for can be combined for efficiency, which means lower stress higher energy. We're creating a space for our body to have that more highway fuel mileage rather than city mileage. Other things that I had to think about was I haven't chosen to go full fanatic when it comes to organic, natural, real, raw, all the things. I haven't. And my family's not on board with it. So the reality is I have to do the best with what my family and I will tolerate stretching into and move in increments in that direction. However, I also know that my autoimmune has low absorption of nutrients. So my body, no matter how well I eat, absorbs low nutrients. So I physically need to choose supplements that work for my body. So I need things that absorb quickly, that absorb well, and that are the most natural. Again, because we don't want to create resistance. We don't want to create more hills, valleys, turns, and potholes than we need to if we're trying to move towards a lifestyle. The lifestyle I'm trying to move towards is not only do I want to serve my family well, but I want to do my job well. And I want to be obedient where God calls me. And in that, He has shown me the supplements to use, the lifestyle to step into, and the rhythms that help my body lower that resistance and increase that ability to serve. It's the way He's asked me to move. I've also learned that my body responds very well to the physical stress. When I exercise, I feel good. I love it. Even though I can't go at the intensity as athlete level or some other folks who just are naturally athletic, when I move, my body responds well. It is so happy. If I'm having a headache, if I'm having weakness, if I go for a walk in the fresh air, it loves me. Now, if I have emotional stress, things that are creating heartaches and a lot of thought grinding, my body responds poorly. My energy will tank. My body will physically hurt. And all of my fuel goes to tending to what is going on. So I need healthy coping skills in my life in order to streamline that highway mileage. I need to take care of certain things and understand how my body responds to certain stressors in order to move forward. And I also do well with a buddy. I like doing something alongside someone. It may take a little more time for two people to do this activity and then two people to do this activity and then two people to do this activity rather than the divide and conquer method. But it fuels my soul. It energizes me to want to do more. Whereas I'm alone and they're alone and they're alone and everyone's in their own corners, that makes my heart sad. And it lowers my energy and essentially my productivity. It also creates stress hormones in my body. And again, then I move towards the city mileage, and that's not good for me. So when I think about how do I find sanity? How do I find freedom in this push and pull for, do I eat this? Do I spend this time here? Do I invest in this? Do I go here? Do I choose this routine? When everyone's pulling for my attention, what I think about is what increases my energy, lessens my emotional, cognitive, and physical resistance, what includes a buddy when I can, what allows me a little bit of freedom of choice. How can I personalize this to me? And what do I need? That's how I sort of calculate what things to choose and what things not to. When push comes to shove, make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you are limiting the amount of harmful things that go into your body when you can. If you have 5 sodas a day, let's cut it down to 3. That is a win. If you never walk and your first option when you wake up is to get ready and sit at a desk and you drive and then you sit on your chair all night, choose a set of stairs once or twice a day. If you can't do stairs, walk a longer distance on flat ground, even if it's to someone else's mailbox and back. Choose what works for you. You're going to experience the effects of increased energy, increased mood in a way that you're going to notice. When that happens, hold on to it. Do that more often. Not the short little satisfactory artificial, hey, I get a boost of dopamine when I eat this food. Hey, this short-term satisfaction of spending this, buying this, getting this. Those are not the type of wellness, sanity seeking that I'm talking about. I'm talking about when your body and your mind and your emotions are genuinely satisfied with the way you are caring for this life that you have been gifted. God breathed you into life, gives you breath every day, and entrusts you to a number of resources within your body and around your person that you can utilize to go out in honor of Him and in service to others in a way that you never know. Do I have things that I choose to do that lessen that resistance and increase my lifestyle? Yes, absolutely. Am I more than happy to share? Absolutely. Reach out. You know, the website is crystalmcfadden.com. You know that you can always find me on social media on a Crystal Conversations LLC. No, there's no vows and conversations, which is a whole nother story. But what I want to encourage you is think about who you are and what you want this life to look like. What are you called? How are you called to impact this world? And if a lot of it is, if I could only, when I get to, right here, right now. We're not talking about the 15 pounds lighter, more shapely, more affluent, no. The you today is valuable. The you today has a mission to impact this world. The you today has an opportunity to create change that increases the value and the impact you place in this world and for your loved ones and to your neighbors. And we honor God by doing that effectively. We honor this life that we've been gifted by figuring out more strategic ways to approach it. Does it all happen at once? Absolutely not. I was sick for over 10 years before I found the supplements that have changed my life for the last 7 years. I have spent nearly 8 years trying to recover from an autoimmune that wreaked havoc for a decade. There is a learning curve, there is education, there is self-awareness, there are tools, and they all come in stages. If we did it all at once, that would create more stress on our body. That's why these cold turkey this and high intensity this, our body goes, what are you doing to me? And then we stop because we can't withstand that type of radical change all at once. But when we introduce great things that are fueling our body and reducing the stress, streamlining the energy into productive things, man, our body responds, our mind responds, our emotions respond. And then we leave a higher yield for impact for this world and ourselves. So I just encourage you, take time this season. If you're listening, go back and take notes. Go back and reflect on some of the areas that I've pointed towards. And if you need any information or you want more about my story, please feel free to reach out. But right now, I just encourage you, quiet the noise around you. Take a look at what your body and your brain and your emotions respond to, and begin formulating a plan, both immediate that you can choose now and a longer term plan that will get you to that place you see your life standing for. I'm so proud of you for making it to this point in the episode. I hope you'll share it with a friend. And most of all, I can't wait to hear your stories. Take care, everyone.